how does betrayal point to the faithfulness of Jesus? Let's look at it as we recap yesterday's sermon and bring in application for your everyday life. Well, the verse that was at the core of the sermon of yesterday was, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy." That is in Proverbs 27, verse 6, and it's one of those verses that actually mean the correction of a friend, right? If a friend wounds you and corrects you and goes like, this is have to change, you can trust that. You can trust that a friend will, when he wounds you, even have your best intentions. But an enemy will give you compliments, will give gifts, etc. Don't trust that. That's the content of the verse. However, it points to how graceful Jesus is, what a friend we have in Jesus. Even when his enemy was multiplying kisses, even when Judas was betraying him with a kiss, he called him friend. And so let's look at those elements. Number one, the plan that Judas had was always known to Jesus. In Matthew 10, where Judas gets called, he's part of the 12. And when he is betraying Jesus, it says one of the 12. That sentence, one of the 12, is repeated again and again for Judas. Judas was not just, a tool for Jesus. He was intimately known to Jesus. Jesus gave him authority to cast out demons, gave him the power to heal, called him to share the good news of the kingdom. Judas was called, and Jesus never expelled him out of the 12. To the very end, he was not expelled by Jesus. And what Judas thought was a plan by him was actually a bigger plan by God, because in the passage that I read yesterday, it said that this all happened to fulfill what the prophet had spoken. Now, does that mean God was misusing Judas as a tool? Well, some could argue that, but I rather think that the point for us is, even in the deepest of betrayals, the plan of God will prevail. The plan of God is so big that he can take the betrayal of somebody and it makes it the salvation of the whole world, right? You have to look at this for this point, because it says that Judas decided. Well, how could Judas decide if God had already robotically moved him into that direction? What God would that be that actually just, abuses Judas to do those things? No, it was Judas who willfully hardened his heart, and then it says that the devil entered him, and that's when he started to produce more evil. God, however, in that plan had a bigger plan and used even evil for good. Doesn't that make sense? So when you're betrayed, when you feel like nothing makes sense, I'm hurting, know this: God has a plan. God has a plan. He had a plan with Jesus and Judas. Number two, Judas abused the intimate knowledge of where Jesus was in the evening. Abuse always abuses intimate knowledge. Always like a vulnerability. Either it's when you're very young, vulnerable, or weak, or a knowledge that makes you vulnerable. That's where abuse, where the betrayal is happening. It's abusive. Now, Jesus was exposed in the evening, and the army came and wanted to capture him. Now, Jesus at this moment says, "Do you not know that I have like legions of angels at my disposal? I could do this, and this would all be over." Right? And so Peter, with his little sword, is like, and then he chops off an ear of the servant of the high priest. This adds nothing to the table. Jesus was always in control. Now, this is the good news for you when you're betrayed. God is always in control. When the world feels out of control, he has a way forward. He has a way out. And has a way to look after you. God is in control. Let's believe that and let's hold on to it, even when it hurts like crazy. Number three, Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. 30 pieces of silver means that's a price for a slave. That was a slave price, basically. In Exodus 20-ish, there's a little passage where it talks about the price of a slave if he dies. What do you have to pay to come up for the damages done? Jesus was not a slave. He was a king. Now, how is the faithfulness of God showing up in this? Judas thought he had gained 30 pieces of silver. But with those 30 pieces of silver, Jesus made something that was of eternally more value. He bought you and he bought me. And this is the good news, my friend, that even in hurt, even in betrayal, God's loving kindness never ceases to end. He's a friend. You can trust in his wounds. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Okay, application, very simply. Today, if you have been betrayed, lift your betrayal to God. Ask for healing. Ask for his love, that he would make his plan work out in your life. If you have something to confess, if you have a betrayal that you need to reveal, go quickly. Don't wait. Go to a friend. Talk it over. Make a commitment that you would do this, that you would open up and then confront the evil in your life. In Jesus' name. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful week.